friends of Latino art, we want to say thank you so much for purchasing one of our Navidad Caribeña Ornament kits. We truly appreciate your support of our mission through this purchase of the Navidad Caribeña Ornament. And we hope that it brings joy to your holiday season. Unas felices Navidades con familia. And we want to say muchas gracias again. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go through the ornament kit and some of the steps that you need to complete in order for your ornament kit to be successful. And then you can enjoy the ornament with you and your loved ones safely at home. So first, you'll notice that your ornament kit comes with a piece of ribbon that will help you hang it up at the end when it's all complete. So for now, I'm going to take that and place it to the side. And your ornament kit also includes some permanent markers and a color pencil set. All right, thank you so much for purchasing it again, and we want to invite you to make sure that you share your ornament kit when you are done coloring it. So we have the permanent markers and the color pencil set. I'll put that to the side. Along with your ornament kit comes this little pamphlet, and on the inside we have the instructions on how to complete your kit, and then also we have a finished sample, which is this. This was our model for our kit or for the ornament, and then we have a little bit of history of the different elements that we included in the ornament for you to learn a little bit more about some of the items. All right, but we're going to talk a little bit about the decorating, which is the coloring, and then also about the cutting before you bake. All right, so let's get into that. All right, I'm going to place this to the side. All right, you're going to notice that your ornament is printed on this special type of plastic. This is called shrink-dink plastic. I know it sounds funny, but it's actually what it's called. And we are going to start by the coloring. The coloring portion is very, very important because that's where you want to spend most of your time. You want to make sure that you're taking your time and enjoying the coloring of your ornament, because once we put it in the oven to bake it or to shrink it, it's permanent. It is done and there's no going back. So this is where you want to spend most of your time. All right, so like I mentioned, in the kit we've included some permanent markers, and we've also included some color pencils. Here we go. So lots and lots of colors to choose from. Here's another one, and like I said, I want to reiterate the fact that this is where you want to spend most of your time. Enjoy the coloring. Coloring is a great activity, can be very meditative, and I want to draw your attention to the plastic again. You're going to notice that the plastic has two sides actually. One is very smooth, and then the other side has a bit of a tooth, which basically means that it's been scratched, and that's on purpose. That tooth is where you want to do most of your coloring side, or most of your coloring on. So that's called the frosted side. All right, so the frosted side has that bit of a tooth, so it can grab colors from the color pencils easier. All right, and if you are using the permanent markers, which we recommend, you want to you'll be able to color on either side, but it's strongly recommended that you put all the color on one side, which is the frosted side, because like I mentioned before, it'll grip better. It'll go up, be applied easier or better onto the plastic. All right, also wanted to show you this. As you can tell, the plastic is transparent or translucent, but if you want to do one of the elements of the design, if you want it for it to be white, you want to color it white. If you leave it blank, it will be transparent. All right, so if you want to spend, for example, if you wanted to create one of your snowflakes or all of the snowflakes for them to be white, you want to color it with a white color pencil. Okay, and I know it's a little bit strange because you might think, well, it looks like not a lot is going on to the plastic, but if you hold it up, I hope you can see that here. you can definitely see that the white is actually going onto the plastic. And keep in mind that this will actually shrink and it will actually, the color becomes a little bit more condensed or saturated. All right, but if you want something to be white, you have to color it white. If you leave it blank, it will be transparent. All right, so I have an ornament that is more complete here. Let me move this out the way, but I want to take a moment to point out the white. As you can see there, I've colored and I've saturated it pretty good. It means I've worked quite a bit of white into those grooves so they can print nicely, or they'll shrink nicely, I should say. All right, so here we have an ornament that is mostly complete, and I've taken my time coloring it. And again, if you want something to be white, you want to spend a little bit of time there and make sure that you are filling in all the places that you want to be colored. Now, we are including these colors in the kit. However, if you have other colors at home that you want to incorporate, they are not included here. Please feel free. And also, please be aware that while we have included an image of a suggested coloring for your ornament, we at Latino Arts like to promote creativity. So if you want to change any of the colors of the ornament, please feel free. You will also notice that your ornament comes pre-hole punch, and that's intentional because that's a very important step for us to do, that we need to make sure that we put our hole for our ornament so we're able to hang it later using our little piece of ribbon. All right, so once you have finished coloring, you are happy with all the colors you've selected, you have taken your time, and now the next thing to do is do a little trimming. So you'll need a pair of scissors, and what I want to recommend you do is, if you want to have square edges, that's up to you, but we recommend that you spend a little time doing a kind of a border to make it look a little bit more round, and then you are going to simply trim. The plastic is very easy to cut, and I want to emphasize here that I'm doing a very simple shape. You can spend a little bit of time doing a little bit more of a, decorative shape if you wanted to, but what I do not recommend is that you try trimming the outline of the drawing or of the ornament design. So what I mean by that is I would not use scissors to try trimming around all the little jagged edges, because the plastic will crack and there's no fixing that. All right, so make sure that you're taking your time, kind of come along with the design that you are happy with, and I like that kind of oval shape that I have. So now this ornament is ready to go into the oven. All right, and I'm gonna show you that step next. But just to review, please make sure that you're taking your time to color all the different elements. If you want to change colors, by all means, please do. But it's very important that all the coloring happens now, because once we shrink it, there's no going back. And also, if you want something to be white, you do have to color it white. Other materials you can use for this, color pencils are always great. Permanent markers are great. You do not want to use paint on the plastic or something like crayons, because crayons are wax, and when you put it in the oven, they will melt. All right, so we are ready to bake. So I'm gonna stop here, and I'm gonna do a little setup so we can look at that step. All right, so once you have finished coloring your ornament and you've cut it out, we are ready to do the baking part. And I just wanted to point out that I'm using a small toaster oven, so I've preheated it to about 320 degrees. If you're using a conventional oven or your regular oven at home, you want to preheat it to about 350 degrees. All right, so let me put this to the side. Very important, actually, before I do that, I want to point out that the baking will take approximately 3.5 minutes, but it does vary, so you do not want to walk away from your project once it's in the oven. All right, and you're gonna notice here that I'm using a piece of cardboard as my baking sheet. Because this is gonna be so fast, that will work. But you do want to use a thick cardstock or a piece of cardboard at home to put on your baking tray. All right, so once you're ready to do that, you place your ornament on the piece of cardboard, and then you're gonna place it inside the oven. I do want to give you a heads up that when the plastic is in the oven, I know it sounds counterintuitive, you're gonna put plastic in the oven, but keep in mind this is a special type of plastic. It's gonna do kind of like this weird wriggling, kind of like buckling, and it'll start kind of moving around a bit. But it looks like it's melting, but it's actually doing what it's designed to do. It is actually shrinking. All right, so here we go. I'm going to put this on top, kind of out of the way. I'm gonna open up the oven, and I'm gonna carefully place it in. You do want to have an oven mitt or a heavy cloth, so when you are taking out the cardboard from the oven, you won't burn your hand. Okay, so I'm gonna close the oven, and we are going to watch, let's see, get a better angle, there we go. We're gonna watch the melting process happen. All right, please keep in mind that this does go fairly fast, especially if you have preheat your oven. You do want to make sure that you preheat it, otherwise you might get a little bit impatient and walk away, which you do not want to do. Okay. On average, it takes about anywhere between 2.5 to 3.5 minutes. Sometimes it goes a lot faster, especially if your oven tends to be on the warmer side. But just in a few seconds, as you can see, the plastic is doing that buckling, doing its dance. Don't worry, it's part of the process. What will happen though is that it'll start to flatten out once it's complete. So all this has happened under a minute so far. So all the more reason that you do not want to walk away from the project. If you leave your project in the oven too long, it will burn, okay, because the plastic is only designed to withstand the heat for a certain amount of time. Okay, as you can see, it kind of has that bowl shape, but it will flatten out. And one of the really neat things about this plastic is that we started off with a sheet of paper or a sheet of plastic that was roughly 4 inches by 6, maybe a little bit smaller, but it will shrink to about 1/4 of the size, but it does end up being a really nice size ornament. Okay, coming up towards the end, as you can see, the ornament is flattening out, which is indicating that we're almost done. I'm going to start getting my mitt here ready. Okay, and that looks to be good. So now I'm going to open the oven. I'm going to pull this out, and I'm going to place it on top. And I'm going to let that cool for a bit. Well, friends, as you can see, our ornament is complete and is ready to hang. I've added the ribbon through the little hole that we pre-punched for you, and it came out great. As you can see, after all that buckling it did, it is nice and flat, and the colors are way more vibrant that they originally appear. And again, we want to say thank you so much for purchasing our Navidad Caribeña Ornament kit, and we hope it brings some joy to you and your family during this holiday season. Feliz Navidad a todos.